Okay, welcome back. Hit record. Brian's thoughts and cars. Welcome back, sports fans. Why do I keep saying that? Today, April 5th, 17 degrees Celsius outside. Tons of snow happened. It's all melted now. Super warm. Went on a date today. And to be honest with you, I really wasn't feeling it. But, I really wasn't looking forward to it. She had messaged me earlier in the week um, just to let me know that she's still alive and kind of thing. Still there. That was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. And then I called her back. Well, I kind of set it up so that we could have a phone call, and she quickly talked about that message that she sent, saying, "Oh, I didn't mean to, I didn't want it to come across as I'm ending it or anything like that. I just. So yeah, 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 no problem. Well, we'll see each other again. All right." And then I was like, "What do I want to do?" And I just wasn't feeling it. Right? Like I didn't want to go out and spend any money. I didn't want to go out. Really, what I wanted to do, what I've been wanting to do, is just go out and walk or hike or something. But it's funny how every woman takes that first meet, um, how they interpret it individually. So either you got people that is full casual and they'll leave the house with their comfort clothes are on, you know, that they're wearing, show up on the date, or they'll show up on the date dressed to the nines. Well, I shouldn't say that. Dressed to the nines. I shouldn't say that because most people don't even know what that means. But they'll, work up and do all the makeup and put the certain clothes on where they're looking good. Shoes that you can't go walking around doing things in. Because even if I meet somebody for drinks or something, because it's cold outside, it's snowy, I would still, hey, you know what? Let's leave here. Let's go for a walk. We'll go down the block. We'll go to that other place, or we'll go check that out, sort of thing. And I think that's something that's important to do on a date. Don't get yourself stuck having a dinner or something like that, eating food. It's okay having a coffee, I guess, sitting there having a coffee, as long as you're manufacturing some sort of, at least engaging talk, or not, or grilling her. That's always good. Actually, you should be grilling the ladies because it makes them uncomfortable, and more often than not, they dig it at the end after they sit and stew in it for a bit. Oh, he's making me feel something. And that's really all you got to do is make them feel something. Now, but I've already been on a couple of dates with this lady, and I was just, she's active, I'm active, and being out here back in Alberta, you can, really you can only be active in the wintertime if you've got machines. Everybody does quadding, snowmobiling, that sort of stuff. Nobody walks trails, or there's so few people that walk trails that it's not worth doing it. Whereas back in Victoria, there was more than enough people on the trails that the trails would be cleared just from the traffic. You know, so it was always easy all year round to go and hit a trail, go and walk somewhere, sort of thing, right? Whereas here it's not. When it's -20 or just snowing and it's blowing cold wind, and you know, a few times I thought, hey, I should probably set up a date at West Edmonton Mall, because at least then we can go walk around and visit things, right? Like meet up some there, go shoot some guns, or yeah, I don't know, just go shopping for things, look at things, knick-knacky stores. And I saw it in a movie one time, I think The Boiler Room, where the boss is telling the new recruit, if you're talking on the phone, walk. Get up and walk around. Motion creates emotion. And that's true. It's true. Some of the best dates I've ever been on have been, there's bugs on the windshield. I'm getting bugs on the windshield. The best dates I've ever been on have been one where you leave what you're doing. Like it's just meet me up here. We'll exchange names and see each other's faces and quickly get into, okay, screw this. Let's go do something fun. Right? This is boring. That's always good. Like saying those two things will you will end up with one of the best dates you ever had. Just saying those two things. This is boring. Let's go do something fun. And I don't care what it is. I've never been on this part of the subway. Let's go. I'm, if it's close by or whatever. If you park close, get on a bus. I haven't ridden a bus in 20 years. Let's get on a bus. Something, anything. Let's go for a walk. Let's going for the walk. Then you get to go check places out. If you don't have, you know, that's why you should be setting your dates up in certain areas, sort of thing. You know, I like doing museums because I like museums, and I usually get a season pass. But they're weather resistant. They've got a cafe. You know, you could meet up at a cafe there, and but then you get to go walk around, and there's interesting things to look at. You don't have to carry a conversation, right? And you get to feel each other out. I went on a date one time with some chick. We went and looked at the salmon run or whatever. It was pissing down rain. It was terrible, terrible weather. And the whole time she's trying to get as close to me as she possibly could, trying to get me to hold her hand, and, you know, things like that. And you can't do that when you're sitting in a chair across the table from somebody. Doesn't matter how much you lean in and what your body language is and this and that. If you can, like, get out of your chair across from her, go and make up any excuse you can to sit down beside her and say, "Look, I'm not going to get to know you staring across the table from you. I'm not feeling it. Let's do this way." You know, then you can tease me. You can poke me. You can, you know, smell my bad cologne, my body odor, or whatever. Say whatever you want, make it silly and stupid as fuck, and they'll laugh at anything you say anyway. Everybody's nervous, and everybody wants to have a good time on a date. Nobody goes on a date to say, "Oh, I'm gonna have a miserable time." Right? Everybody tries to make it a fun time. And if you're worrying about screwing up, then that just kills the vibe, right? But yeah, super sunny, warm day today. Went on a date, and I wasn't feeling it. But I got out there. I actually, she had offered to drive, and I was up for that. I think I called her quickly and said, "Hey, like, let's do Saturday." And I feel like going for a walk or hike or something like that. And I quickly looked. I didn't know what the weather was going to be like. I don't look at the weather. I really don't care. When I go outside, I find out what the weather is. And I just kind of picked an area that had, if we needed to, we could go buy some passes and go walk around someplace. Or if the weather was decent enough, we could just go walk around outside, right? Ultimately, that's what I was after because I just like being outside, you know. So yeah, that's kind of what I picked there. And she's like, "Well, maybe I'll drive this time because you drove the last time and save you gas and this and that." And I was like, I was totally up for that. I was totally 100% up for that. I'm like, she's offering to pay for things. I'm like, absolutely, this chick's a winner, right? And but bringing the type 1 diabetes and things like that, like my car is literally my lifeline away from the house. You know, I was kind of getting anxious. I was kind of getting anxious, thinking about, well, no, if we go in her car, I don't have keys. I don't have anywhere to escape to. I won't have, the only thing I'll have with me is my bag. And I'm not sure if I want to put everything in my bag for going out and walking with somebody that I don't know, who doesn't know my medical condition that great. So I was like, no, I think I left. I made the decision. I was going to drive. I was going to take my car. I was going to bite the bullet, pay for the gas and all that again. That was for me. But then it turns out that I had to go pick a couple things up. My daughter bought something on whatever, and I went to go. She's like, pick this up. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll go pick that up. So that gave me something else to do that wasn't had nothing to do with the date, right? Like it's like I'm not just coming in to see you, which is always important, right? Even when you're setting up dates, you don't say, hey, like let's go here. It's best to say, well, I'm doing this. You can come along, come along for the ride. It's best to do stuff like that. I've tried it a few different ways like that, and setting up a date and a specific thing and all of that is not fun. It actually puts pressure on everybody, and it's far more casual, far more laid back to say, well, I'm doing this. I got to do a bunch of running around. That's what I said to her. I said, look, she was full. Are we taking my car? She said, and I said, no, actually, I got a bunch of running around stuff I got to do today, and let's just hop in my car and we'll go. I got to do a bunch of stuff here first, and then we'll go on our thing. We'll go on our walk, and perfect. And that's what it was. And introducing that kind of stuff in on a date where it's not just one thing. It's like, here, I got here, this, that, the other thing, and you talk about all sorts of stuff. You don't run out of things to say. She gets to see you in your natural operating environment, and you get to see her in hers and how she deals with things that aren't scheduled and things like that, which is really good. Yeah, that's basic things of how you get to know a person. And like I said, then takes all the pressure off of having, well, this is it. This is all we're doing, and it's all got to happen at this spot, in this place, in this time, and usually doesn't work out. So that was good. I got a ran a few errands, had to pick up something from my sister, had to pick up something from my daughter. She brought, she always brings food, which is good. She always brings fruit. She brings fruit. She had a thing of grapes. I was like, oh, those are good ones. We had those at the house. And she's like, "Ooh, yeah, well, here, take whatever you want. Yeah, yeah. Which is good. It helped me with my blood sugar through the day. Didn't spike me, didn't send me lows or anything like that. It worked out really well. Interesting. Interesting, interesting. As I was driving, got a rock chip. Went whole winter without a rock chip. Now when all the snow is gone, boom, rock chip. I've had rocks hit the windshield and stuff. I got a bunch of like pitting and stuff now, but nothing ever actually broke the windshield. But this one did, and it's right in the driver's side, right in the driver's vision. Like, dang. But it's small. I taped it up. It's good. What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, and with work, not too much. I'm glad I went out today though. I did need to get out of the house without that isn't work, you know. That isn't the gym. That is socializing. And I kind of discussed this with her. I, I think on our second time together, and I hadn't called her back for a long time because I was like totally off the apps. I totally quit the dating thing. I totally wanted nothing to do with it, and I started making videos of it. And I was just, I didn't want to go through the whole song and dance thing, right? Which is probably a good thing because I went on the date and I was didn't have to act it. I did not have to act like I didn't give a shit because I actually didn't give a shit. I actually, I was happy, I was whatever. I just went for the walk, talked to like normal human beings. It was totally good. It's the way things are supposed to happen, and that's good. And we did talk about this early on about even if you're not attracted to somebody that you're meeting on these apps, right? That just the socialization aspect of it, where you're getting out and you're meeting people and you're talking and you're trying to converse with another person, because we even discuss, especially as you get older, you fewer and fewer people, unless you belong to some sort of club or some sort of event or some sort of sport that happens regularly. You really don't going out socializing because you're not going to the bars. You're not going. Out here, it's not set up for that. It's not set up to meet people, on the street or sitting at a cafe and things like that. I guess you could. I guess so, but people like to stick to themselves, especially in the city. Nobody wants to acknowledge your existence, which was kind of strange because always in the River Valley, people are friendly. People say hi, and we discussed that on the walk, right? You could switch it out as soon as you leave that little River Valley trail and you go up into a street or somebody's cul-de-sac or whatever neighborhood. You know, people are now suspicious of you, and it only happens in the River Valley. I've walked the trails and the sidewalks and things all around the city and the pathways, in different parts of the city, all times of days. And no matter what happens, people don't want to say hi to you. People are scared of you. They're suspicious, um, that kind of thing. But always on the River Valley, you know, people are running. You say hi to people, just like in a small town, just like out in the farming community. See somebody, you say hello. Oh, hey, how's it going? Hey, hi, hi. Give them the wave, and it was very friendly. So it was. I think it was. It's a really good choice for what we did today. Really good choice. I don't know if she's always like this, but she couldn't stop talking. Not that it's a bad thing. And I'm noticing that actually with women. They will talk when there's silence. I shouldn't just say women. There's people who do that. I don't know. I don't know if guys do that. Talk just because nobody's saying anything. Maybe I'm on these dates because you sit there in silence and you don't say anything, and you have to do that. You absolutely have to do that, and they'll just start talking about nothing or something or anything, nothing relevant, nothing, just to fill the gap, and they'll even comment on it, right? Like, no, something about the silences or the gaps in the conversation, and This is the best way to get them talking. They're engaged, right? But also nervousness. You know, it's also probably a good sign to see. If she's nervous on the date and she's unsure, and there's that you can sense that little bit of turmoil in it in her. You know, those are good signs. You know, especially if she keeps trying to engage you. It's not the end all be all. It's just one sign, one good thing that's happening. Because 9 times out of 10, it means she's nervous because she's attracted to you in some way, somehow, whatever she likes, what's going on with you, and she doesn't want to mess it up. Just like you, and just like guys when they're in front of a pretty girl and they don't want to mess it up. They don't know what's you're all kind of edgy, right? We all do it. We all do it. We all do it. That's what I'm saying. It's a good sign. But being able to go on a date and yeah, you talk like a regular, like she's a dude, like she's another guy, like she's a buddy or whatever. That's how you talk. That's how the conversation should flow. Except you throw in the flirts every now and again, and then you know you have this. Everybody's different, I guess. I like relaxing, kind of like what I'm doing now, and taking up space. If I'm sitting at a table, I'll take up 2 chairs and like 3/4 of the table with my stuff. If I'm in a booth, I own the booth. You know, I'll own my side of the booth and I'll own most of the table. I'll have my stuff spread out all over the place. And I'll be slouching and I'll be shifting my body. I'll try this side of the table for a while. Then I'll try this side of the table for a while. And then I'll just take up the booth for a while. You know, I'll move my tea or coffee or whatever there, put my things that I need all around me, and leave a little space for the server. uh, because I've done it the other way, where you're prim and proper and you're, you know, fairly militaristic, and this is my seat, this is my that, this is it, this is all lined up, this is my space. I'll work within this. You know, rigid, making eye contact. You know, the therapist pose where you're, you know, cross your ankles, you sit there, your hands are in your lap or on the arm rests. I've done that, and own your space, man. Because it makes you feel comfortable. It really makes you just feel comfortable. And then you feel like saying whatever you want, whatever, and you're not worried about anything that's happening. And you don't have to think. You don't have to think. Uh, I didn't know that it was going to end up like that and talking about, I don't know, dating instructions. No, dating tips. Ignore everything I said. Don't listen to it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just some dude in a car. I'm just reflecting on, I'm still reflecting on the whole dating thing and, coming to terms with it, I guess. Because I'm probably going to go back out there and do it. It'll be funner this summer. And, you know, being, I think it was, what I had learned way, 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 way in the past there had worked so well, and applying it and it working again, and then doing what I used to do, which never worked. And both actually, you know, coming to the same conclusion where, like, what do you got to do for a long-term relationship? You know, is that 100% out the window? And I think if I just say yeah, because it's, who knows? I don't know, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get on a date. It's a lot of work to keep a date going. It's a lot of work to keep a. It's a lot of work, and what is the work for? What is the work for? What is the work for? I think, that's the question. Am I just now just gonna do it to? I do know if you put in the work, the results will come, and that's absolutely true of my dating experience. You just put the work in, you get results. You don't. You don't focus on the results. You don't. You know, they're not the end all be all. It's a result. It's an indicator, and so you keep doing the work. You keep doing the work. Keep doing the work. It doesn't really matter. You see results, and you just put your head down and keep doing the work, and it will provide fruit, so to speak. And it may not be the fruit you're seeking, but it will still provide fruit, right? Like, I didn't start dating to start going out there and having sex with everybody, or anybody in particular, or a relationship, or start something, or find the one, or find the many, or things like that. I was looking. The results were, brushing up my skills. Uh, Number one, because dating is not something you can take lightly, right? It is a game, and you have to be practiced in the game in order to play the game. And if you aren't playing the game, you aren't practicing, and you are not honing any kind of skills, and you're just going to fumble, 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 and wondering why you're not. Whereas this is why I can see people have checked out, because it is a lot of work. It is a ton of work. I can't remember the amount of time I've put into something like this, especially regarding dating, right? Is it because I'm older? Is it because the apps are involved and that's added an extra, multitude of layers to making a connection with somebody? Because I remember being young and it being difficult, but not this difficult. Absolutely not this difficult. And I wasn't no 10. I wasn't no ripped. I shouldn't say that. There was a time there where I was big and ripped, and I I learned that year. I was like, holy cow, do people treat you differently? Holy cow. And that's why I always kind of said after that, well, I should kind of said after that, it is good to stay in shape. It is good to, and I don't mean just for women. I mean people just in general. When you're in good shape and you can show that with your clothes and things like that, people look at you differently. People treat you differently. They treat you better. They notice you. It's a whole thing. And if you haven't heard enough of that, if you're some scrawny guy sitting in the basement playing video games, that's fine. Absolutely. Um, when you go out, you're saying you're an introvert and you don't want anybody to notice you and things like that. That's fine, you know. But your life would change if you get in decent shape, and then people start doing things for you. And it's true. It's true. People just treat you, just put on a suit and go out. Dress super, because nobody dresses decent anymore. Everybody looks like they're homeless in the clothes that they wear out here. So just dressing up half, mostly decent, people immediately notice and treat you different, right? I remember at a seminar that we were at this investing seminar, and that was one of the things that we did. I was actually up on stage for that one. Was I? No, it wasn't for that one. It was for the one after that. But no, the guy that I was going to these investment seminars with, he always dressed in these Hawaiian shirts and wrinkled up shorts and bad shoes. The guy was, it was hilarious. He was a millionaire kind of thing. He had the super successful eBay business that he had, and then he had the super successful eBay course that he was selling, and then he was also trading on the side. And we were kind of, he was kind of mentoring me in the trading part, and so we were always going to these investment seminars together. One of the guys called him up on stage, and they all guys in suits, guys, and my buddy ended up on stage there in his things. He's like, "So who up here do you think makes the most money?" And everybody pointed to the well-dressed people, right? And it was the exact opposite, where all the people dressed up like homeless bums, right? Like my buddy, he looked like he came from some Mexican beach or some, just you totally couldn't tell, right? And it was a two-day event or 3 day event. I can't remember. So because they went back the next day, and that next day he showed up in a suit. I'm like, dude, what are you doing in the suit, right? He's like, no, 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 I'm working with the promoter guy there, and this is part of what's happening on the course that we're taking. So he wanted me to come in a suit today, and then we'll do that whole thing over again. So he's up on stage. He was in the suit, and then everybody goes, oh yeah, they're all making money, sort of thing. And he goes, okay, now here's what the results were. Like, these people did this, these people did that, this person did this, and this, and they got to my buddy there, right? And nobody could believe, you know, that the guy in the Hawaiian shirt and the frumpy shorts and the bad shoes, and you know, did what he did. Um, it was kind of funny because he actually had his neighbors call the cops on him because they circulated these flyers in neighborhoods around the city where, you know, how to watch out for drug dealers, because everybody was turning houses into pot dens, or pot grow houses, or whatever they call them, and how to spot a drug dealer in your neighborhood, right? And it's, they show up in all of a sudden appearance of fancy cars, lots of coming and goings to the door, things like this, right? And this guy was running his eBay business out of his, well, part of it was out of his house. He just took a whole bunch of stuff home, and then he would get he would get couriers to come to the house. So he's always having these different kinds of cars showing up at his house all hours of the night, all hours a day. And he had just bought himself an XK. I can't remember what it was. XK Jaguar. He bought a brand new Jag at the time, and so the neighbors called the cops on him. So he got a knock on the door, and police were saying, "Well, people think you're a drug dealer because this is what's going on." And he's like, "Oh no, I got an eBay business that I'm running. That I run out of the house. And he had to show them all of this and prove it, right? Otherwise, he had to show them that it isn't a pot house sort of thing, right? He made his money trading, and he made his money off of the eBay, and he made his money off courses. Yeah, and he goes up on stage. Nobody thought he made any money, and then next day he shows up in a suit, and the whole thing was just, do you think you'd make more sales dressed up, you know, or make more connections, or meet more people dressed as a hobo, or as dressed up in a suit and professional and things like that, right? And that's my point about this, is that people treat you differently, you know, how you look. And I mean, back in the day when I was younger and working construction and made a point of working out while I was working with 2x4s and plywood and things like that. It's turned into a monster. And then I went for a trip to Europe and walking around Europe, and I was just this really young guy. I think I was 18, but I was ripped from that. So we went and worked, and all I did was eat, sleep, eat, sleep. Oh, eat, sleep, work. Sorry, eat, work, sleep, eat, work, sleep, eat, work, sleep. And I came home like I was just a monster, and just walking around, I couldn't believe the attention. It totally surprised me. Totally surprised me. People wanted to talk to you. People wanted to do good things for you. People wanted to get out of your way. You know, that was a really good experience. I think really good learning experience was. I know dressing well. That we just in the house we grew up. That's something we learned, right? But just being a ripped guy. Going eat, work, sleep, eat, work, sleep, or gym, workout, home, sort of thing. That people do treat you differently. They do when they see you're big and you got corded arms and things like that. Hey, you stand out. Men and women. You stand out to both men and women, and probably the they them's too, right? Pink haired freaky chicks. Anyway, thoughts for today. Video's too long. Thanks for sticking in there. I rambled. I rambled. I rambled. Not going to apologize. That's the day. Hope you can relate to some of it. If you can, leave it in the comments for somebody else to read. Something you liked, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't like something, say it. I'll read it probably at some point. And I'll probably take it into consideration because I have before. I know I rambled. The videos are off the cuff. That's kind of the point. Um, some of them are going to be this. Subscribe if you're 50 and living at 25 because this is what it is. All right. Catch you on the flip side.